Welcome to South Asia Today, a show that provides you the glimpses of South Asia. I am your host Yeshi. Here are the headlines. World leaders join 7th edition of Raisina Dialogue in New Delhi to discuss world affairs. Sri Lanka's tourism hit hard, World Bank to provide $600 million in financial aid. And Kathmandu streets turn purple as jacaranda flowers bloom. Let's begin the show with Raisina Dialogue 2022 in New Delhi, attended by world leaders to share their views on important challenges the world is facing today. Over 210 speakers from 90 countries participated over the span of 3 days. They discussed the Russia-Ukraine crisis and world trade. The theme of this 7th edition was Terra Nova, impassioned, impatient and imperiled. Have a look.
It is therefore
Raisina Dialogue, a 3-day conclave, brought together 700 international participants comprising 40% of women speakers who emphasized India's commitment to gender equality. The world leaders hailed Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership and vision with respect to a range of world issues. Speaking at the 7th edition of Raisina Dialogue 2022, India's Foreign Minister Subramanyam Jaishankar reiterated India's position amid the ongoing conflict in Ukraine and asked the Western countries not to forget other important issues in the world like Afghanistan. He recognized that conflict in Ukraine is the dominant issue of the day, but also questioned the muted response from European countries on pressing issues in Asia.
when a rules-based order was under challenge in Asia, the advice we got from Europe is do more trade. At least we're not giving you that advice. And in terms of, Afghanistan, please show me which part of the rules-based order justified, what the world did there.
India is willing to step in to mitigate the impact of the ongoing war in Ukraine that has led to the emergence of several challenges, including the shortage of food stocks.
That Russia's irresponsible actions in Ukraine blatantly trample over the principles that underpin the world order from which both Poland and India have benefited so much in the past few decades. It also entails serious implications for global security, including energy and food security, the consequences of which both our regions are yet to deal with.
In Europe, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, who was the chief guest at the event, met Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in capital New Delhi, as the West steps up efforts to encourage the South Asian nation to reduce ties with Russia, its main weapons supplier, following Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. Addressing at Raisina Dialogue, she condemned Russia's action in Ukraine, as she described what she witnessed on a visit to Kiev's suburb of Bucha on April 8, where mass graves had been found.
The images coming from Russia's attack on Ukraine have shocked and are shocking the whole world. 2 weeks ago, I visited Bucha, the suburb of Kiev, which was devastated by Russian troops as they withdrew from the north of Ukraine. I saw with my own eyes the bodies lined up on the ground. I saw the mass graves. I listened to survivors of atrocious crimes the Kremlin soldiers committed. I saw the scars of bombed schools and resident houses and hospitals. These are severe violations of international law, targeting and killing innocent civilians, redrawing borders by force, subjugating the will of a free people.
Meanwhile, Indian Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari invited Tesla to manufacture e-vehicles in India. He highlighted that India has a huge market and infrastructure like ports are available to enable exports.
If the Elon Musk is ready to manufacture a Tesla in India, there is no problem. We have got the all competency, the vendors are available. We have got the all type of technology, and because of that he can reduce the cost. But our request to him is that you come to India, start manufacturing here. India is a huge market. The export availability, everything, ports are available. They can make their export from India, and he is welcome. He is welcome in India. We don't have any problem. But suppose he want to manufacture in China and sell in India, it can not be a good proposition for India.
In a short space of 6 years, the Raisina dialogue has acquired an enviable global profile, uniting the best strategic thinkers of the world. The synergies and collaborations in the Raisina dialogue represent India's deliberative ethos as well as its international credibility and convening power. Moving on to Sri Lanka. The island nation continues to face an unprecedented economic and political crisis. The people, including government servants and students, have joined a protest demanding President Gotabaya Rajapaksa government quit over Sri Lanka's worst financial crisis in decades. We have this report.
Thousands of university students in Colombo hit the streets to demand President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa to step down. The pandemic, rising oil prices, populist tax cuts and rapidly dwindling foreign currency reserves have left Sri Lanka without enough dollars to pay for vital imports of fuel, food and medicine. Sometimes violent street demonstrations have erupted this month as shortages and power cuts became acute.
එතකොට අපිට රටේ තරුණයෝ විදියට රටේ ශිෂ්‍යයෝ විදියට වගකීමක් තියෙනවා මේ සමාජය මෙතනින් එහාට අරගෙන යන්න. ඒ නිසා මේ රටේ සියලු දෙනා පහුගිය කාලය ඇතුලේ මේක බලාගෙන ඉන්න විදියට විරෝධතා දක්වන්න පටන් ගත්තා. නගර මට්ටමේ ඒ වගේම දිස්ත්‍රික් මට්ටමේ විරෝධතා දක්වුවා. ඒ වගේම මේක උච්චතම ප්‍රතිඵල විදියට ජනාධිපති ලේකම් කාර්යාලය අත්පත් කරගෙන අදට දවස් 16ක් මේ රටේ තරුණයෝ ශිෂ්‍යයෝ වගේම සියලු බලවේග ඒ අරගල ඇතුළේ ශක්තිමත් කරා. ඒතකොට රටේ ජනාධිපති ලේකම් කාර්යාලය අතෑරලා යනවා. හැබැයි තවමත් ආණ්ඩුව ඉල්ලාස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
The ongoing economic situation in Sri Lanka has severely impacted the tourism sector. The banks of the river Madhuganga in Balapitiya, home to mangroves and famous wetlands, deserted restaurant and line of empty boats are a sign of tough times facing resort owners and tour operators. Many tourists are returning back to their countries due to the economic uncertainty. Due to this, hotel occupancy in the island nation has fallen massively.
We have boards. It's running by the fuel. Fuel cost is going up. We have a restaurant. Restaurant is doing the purchasing everything, foods, cheese, butter, margarine, oil. That price also going up. And that we can't. We have to pay the salaries for the my employees, and we can't do like that. We haven't to pass the everything to the tourists. That's this tourism is going down.
Sri Lanka's worst financial crisis has left it struggling to pay for essentials, including food, fuel and medicines. The World Bank has agreed to provide Sri Lanka with $600 million in financial assistance to help meet payment requirements for essential imports. Earlier this month, Sri Lanka kicked off talks with International Monetary Fund for financial assistance. Before the IMF finalizes a program for Sri Lanka, the country needs $3 to $4 billion in bridge financing to help meet its essential expenses.
Now let's move to Pakistan, where a suicide attack at Karachi University on April 26 killed 4 people, including 3 Chinese citizens. The attack was swiftly claimed by Baloch Liberation Army, a separatist group fighting for the independence of Pakistan's troubled Balochistan province. It often targets Chinese personnel, but it is the first time when the Baloch Liberation Army used a female suicide bomber.
Shari Baloch was a 30-year-old well-educated woman who had a master's degree in zoology and MPhil in education. According to reports, her father was a government servant, while her husband is a dentist. Recently, in a suicide bombing, she blew herself targeting the Chinese nationals near the Confucius Institute, a Chinese language teaching center at Karachi University in Pakistan. 3 Chinese teachers and a Pakistani driver were killed in the blast. The Balochistan Liberation Army-linked Majid Brigade claimed responsibility for the deadly attack, which was the first suicide bombing by a Baloch woman from the separatist group. The explosion was the first major attack against Chinese nationals in Pakistan since last year, when a suicide bomber blew up a passenger bus in northern Pakistan that killed 13 people, including 9 Chinese.
जो वैन आपको नज़र आ रही है ये हॉस्टल से इधर इंस्टीट्यूट की तरफ आ रही थी। हमारे पास इनिशियली रिपोर्ट से 4 कैजुअल्टीज़ की, उनकी आइडेंटिफिकेशन अभी नहीं हुई है। इनिशियल रिपोर्ट जो बम डिस्पोजल ने दी है कि एक्सप्लोजन था किसी लेवल का जो नज़र आ रहा है, लेकिन ये चीज़ भी अभी हमें वेरीफाई करनी है।
The involvement of Shari Baloch, the mother of 2 in the attack, has sent alarm bells ringing. Common Pakistani people are wondering how an educated lady can be a suicide bomber. They should ask this question to Pakistan Army and intelligence agencies, which have forced people to become rebels. Separatist groups in Balochistan are made up of young Balochs who are disillusioned by hardship and being sidelined from economic development. Projects like China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is adding to accumulated separatist feelings among them. Balochis have expressed their anger several times regarding Chinese investments in their areas, but no one lent an ear. Now they demand to be heard. The suicide bombing at Karachi University symbolizes the deep distrust of regionalist forces against exploitative China-led development.
Mother of 2 beautiful kids, having a very decent family, a very well-educated family. If a girl of that level that Shari Baloch was can decide to be a self-sacrificer, the world can understand what Baloch people are going through. Who is responsible for that? State of Pakistan and the greed of state of Communist Party and the Communist government of China is responsible for pushing our daughters and our sons to the level of self-sacrificing, because there is no political platform left, because United Nations are not listening to Baloch, because the world is not listening to Baloch.
On one hand, the province has been kept underdeveloped to ensure exploitation of its resources. On the other hand, the Pak army is unleashing violence on the civilians. Thousands of cases of enforced disappearances are registered, and most of them are still unresolved. Pakistani security forces regularly conduct operations on individual households, physically assault innocent women and children, and rely on extrajudicial death squads to subjugate Baloch people. Balochistan has been bleeding continuously for the last 7 decades, but the world doesn't seem to have either the time or inclination to do something. Therefore, the Baloch people have now decided to take revenge on their own. In an unverified video, Baloch Liberation Army has stated that unless China and Pakistan withdraw from Balochistan, attacks will continue, and that a special unit has been formed within the Majid Brigade to specifically target Chinese officials working on CPEC. Pakistan, which has made Balochistan a battlefield, is paying for its own deeds.
Now we take a look at some happenings in Asia in a segment called Asia Watch.
Fans of Thai rapper Millie were hankering for mango sticky rice in Bangkok this week after the 19-year-old ate mouthfuls of the much-loved dessert on stage at Coachella Music Festival in United States. Millie, whose real name is Dhanupa Khanatirathul, is the first solo Thai artist to perform at the Pop and Indie Rock Music Festival, which draws tens to thousands of fans annually. This year's headline artists include Harry Styles, Billie Eilish and Swedish House Mafia. Sales in Thailand jumped after Millie brought a bowl of a popular sweetmeat on stage and took a few bites as she performed a song called Mango Sticky Rice. In the capital Bangkok, dozens of delivery riders were seen queuing up in front of the well-known vendor may vary to fulfill surging online orders. Thanyarath said that while mangoes are already in season, Milli's performance helped increase sales more than 100%. The shop, popular because its on-delivery app, normally sells about 200 orders per day, but now orders top 400. Indonesia's palm oil smallholders have enjoyed high income over the past year due to global price surge. But after concerns over the domestic supply led to President Joko Widodo announcing an export ban of some palm oil products, farmers fear they will bear the brunt of the stoppage. The world's top palm oil producer said it will ban exports of refined, bleached and deodorized RBD palm olein, which is produced by crushing palm fruit before processing to remove impurities in an effort to lower prices of domestic cooking oil. The move announced by Jokowi as president is known had already affected prices of fresh palm fruits bunches in Kampar. The Agriculture Ministry has sent out notes to provincial governments to strengthen monitoring to ensure palm fruits from farmers was brought in accordance in pricing rules. The Agriculture Ministry has sent out notes to provincial governments to strengthen monitoring to ensure palm fruit from farmers was brought in accordance to pricing rules. Indonesia typically exports about $2.5 billion to $3 billion of palm oil products per month. Panasonic has developed a sustainable smart town in Suta city of Osaka Prefecture. It is a third town following Fujisawa and Sonashima, which were both built in Kanagawa Prefecture. This Suta Sustainable Smart Town has been developed by cooperation between residents, local government, administration, university and partner companies.
私どもパナソニックグループは環境、そして暮らしと仕事で皆様のウェルビーイングへのお役立ちを通じて、お一人お一人の幸せの力になることをお誓い申し上げます。このような目指す姿を踏まえ、地球環境問題の解決と、誰もが心身ともに幸せな暮らしを実現することを目指して、サスティナブルスマートタウンのまちづくりを進めております。長年弊社はメーカーとして家電などの製品作りをしてまいりました。そこで培ったお客様の暮らしに寄り添ってお役立ちを考える暮らし起点の発想でまちづくりの設計を考え、分野を横断するサービスやソリューションを実現してまいります。
The smart city has optimal facilities like a condominium, a service apartment, a shopping center, and a childcare facility. Panasonic has declared Japan's first renewable energy 100% town supported by virtually 100% renewable energy from Kansai Electric Corporation. Receiving of electricity from outside is undertaken by regular and spare two lines. This residence is for elderly people. Supporting maintenance of health based on personal data is available. It includes recommendation of ingredient of meal. Careful watching elderly person is a characteristic of this town. Daily behavior data is gathered by sensing technology. It enables original care program and supporting elderly person's healthy life. The town offers a comfortable lifestyle and proper safety arrangements including a daycare center, a community space, rental electric bicycles and 4K security cameras. Residents of Suta Sustainable Smart Town can get safe and satisfactory life. It is the happiest life provided by Panasonic. World production industry, which has accelerated the shift to full automation of factory, requires precise control technology to make robot working to complete its mission. Fanuc is the first Japanese company to develop a numerical control device. The development and control technology of motor and servo support factory working around the world. The concept of Fanuc's latest robot is that of a collaborative one. The technology to ensure safety is equipped.
私に今接触した時にロボットが瞬時に止まりましたけれども、センサーで人が当たったということを検知しています。
The introduction of collaborative robot is attracting attention as a collaboration production system between human being and robot as a step towards to full autonomous factory. Fanuc's robot technology is required to realize autonomous production collaborating with human beings.
Moving on, Nepal's capital Kathmandu has been painted purple as the jacaranda trees are blooming with flowers, creating a spectacular view around the city. Called Jacaranda mimosifolia, the purple flower has always been used to decorate the city, a tradition that has been kept for at least a century and a half. Visitors are enjoying this picturesque view. Have a look.
Nepal is a surprisingly diverse country that attracts visitors for many reasons. Some are lured by the call of the mountains and seeking to climb or trek in the Himalayas. Others are intrigued by the culture and the famous capital city of the country. And yet others come hoping to find some sort of spiritual awakening. The streets and corners of Kathmandu's main road section are awash with purple flowers, commonly called jacaranda, which goes into full bloom during the month of March and April. Called Jacaranda mimosifolia, the purple flower has always been used to decorate the Nepali capital Kathmandu, a tradition that has been kept for at least a century and a half. Jacaranda, a beauty with fragrance, belongs to Bignoniaceae family and is locally called as jacaranda or Neeli Gulmohar. Although native to Central and South America, jacaranda has been planted widely in Asia and Australia. The residents say these flowers are the part of our daily lives, which gives us the reason to live happy and shiny like this.
अहिले काठमाडौँमा जाकरन्डाहरू फुलेको छ सडकको वरिपरि आसपासमा धेरै ठाउँहरूमा जाकरन्डाहरू फुलेको छ अनि एकदम पुरै पर्पल कलर देखिन्छ रोडको छेउछाउहरूमा हिँड्दाखेरि त्यो दृश्यहरू एकदम लाभदायक देखिन्छ एकदम सुन्दर देखिन्छ त्यो दृश्यहरू अनि पुरै पर्पल कलरले ढकमक्क भएर चाहिँ रोडहरू पनि अलिकति झिलिमिली देखिरहेको छ.
Every year, the road of Kathmandu's ring road to King's Way are painted purple with flowers of jacaranda, also called the Hawaiian mimosa tree, which cannot resist breeze and light showers. But the recent cutting down of the trees in many of the areas around Kathmandu has left admirers aghast. It is believed that the Rana rulers who ruled the kingdom of Nepal from 1846 AD until 1951 AD brought in the jacaranda trees, which grow from cutting or grafting by seedling rootstock and normally take 2 to 3 years to bloom.
2016 मा चाहिँ मैले यो एउटा फोटो खिचेको थिए यो दरबार माग एरियामा त्यतिखेर रुखहरू काटिएको थिएन त्यहाँको जाकरन्दाको रुखहरू काटिएको थिएन अनि त्यहाँबाट त्यो उता दरबार अब ल्यान्डमार्क हाम्रो राम्रो ल्यान्डमार्क भनेको त्यही छ यतापट्टि घण्टाघर उतापट्टि दरबार अनि दरबार र यतापट्टि घण्टाघरलाई फ्रेम गरेर खिचेको मेरो दुईटा फोटो छ एकदमै राम्रो आएको छ अनि हिजो मैले आएर सेम मैले त्यो मोमेन्ट रिलाइभ गर्न खोजे तर त्यो रिलिभ गर्न सकिनँ के मैले किनभने दरबार मार्ग साइडको सबै रुख काटिएको छ इभिनिङमा त्यहाँ रुखहरुमा बत्ती बाल्नको लागि त्यो बत्तीहरु बेरिएको छ त्यहाँ मेबी त्यसैलाई नै फोकस गरिएको होला रुखहरु काटेर चाहिँ अहिले त्यो एरियाको ब्युटी चाहिँ एकदमै हराएको छ.
This genus thrives in full sun and sandy soils, which explains their abundance in warmer climates. Mature plants can survive in colder climates down to -7 degrees Celsius, however, they may not bloom as profusely. Younger plants are more fragile and may not survive in colder climates when temperatures drop below freezing.
It's time for me to wrap up today's episode. We will be back next week at the same time. This is Yeshi signing off on behalf of the entire production team of South Asia Today. Goodbye and take care.